Come on, Australia. Come on, Australia. Come on, Australia. Yes, baby!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the world. I know y'all have been excited for this episode. ISB crew here, Sahil, Rahi, Roy. We have been with you guys since the beginning of qualification, and now this is one of our favorite episodes we're about to do because we get to react to the World Cup draw, boys. For all you fans out there, stick with us for the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to go group by group, initial reactions, first of many videos to come out. But guys, what did you think of the ceremony before we get into the groups?
We start with the ceremony? Wow, that was awkward. And Wayne Gretzky. I thought Americans weren't intelligent, Roy, but my goodness, the man gave us the trifecta of North Macedonia, Toronto, and Jordan, man. Jordan. What a country, my friend.
It shows that he's not American because he would know Michael Jordan, but since he's Canadian, obviously he's not familiar with the athlete. If he was, he would have gotten that pronunciation right. But what a lack of respect to Jordan.
What's North Macedonia, man?
North Macedonia. I mean, maybe I give him a pass because we don't talk about North Macedonia much in the States. But geez Louise, man, what a disaster. Did he go to college? What's the path to pro for NHL? Do they typically go to college like MLS does? I don't know. But
whatever it was not pretty out there. But you know what is pretty? The fact that we have our teams ready. So guys, let us go group by group. We're going to start off here with Group A. Woo. You get to see that. That's who's in that particular group, guys. We're going to talk about it right now. What do you guys got to say about this group here?
Woo! Feliz Navidad, Mexico is all I can say. This is a wonderful group for the Mexicans. They get the rematch. South Korea back in. Remember, of course, South Africa, they played in that famous opener in 2010 with the Shabalala goal. And then, okay, maybe you get Denmark in that last spot. Roycito, if I'm Mexico, I'm excited, man. It's a nice group.
It's a manageable but dangerous group, is what I would say. There isn't a superpower, which is great for Mexico. But you have two very organized teams. You have one, I'm assuming that Denmark makes it through, but we'll see what happens. If they do, you have two very, very organized teams and one high-energy African side. It's not an easy group by any means. And Mexico is in a very, very, very poor spot right now. I mean, as a team, they're doing horrifically. And the dangerous thing as well is Mexico at home is worse than Mexico in the US, which is interesting. I feel they get this undue pressure from their fans that make them underperform, whereas in the US, fan base is a little more lenient.
Yeah, I wouldn't say worse. I wouldn't say worse. I agree with you on the pressure, though. I think the pressure is the issue that it's going to come, especially opening the World Cup against South Africa, a team that we've seen this opening match, right, between Mexico and South Africa before. And it didn't go that well for the Mexicans, considering at that time, though, it was
1-1, right?
1-1
draw.
1-1? 1-1, yes. It was a 1-1, yes.
The opener of the 2010 World Cup.
2010 World Cup, but that was interesting because it's a reverse. It's a reverse, right? Last time South Africa was hosting. So the pressure was still on Mexico at that point in time, I feel like. But like now it's going to be even more on Mexico.
If they don't win that first game, they're in an extremely precarious situation because South Africa is the team to beat in that group.
Yeah, I mean, they're good South Africa side. Be very careful of them. And Korea might be the team to beat. As talented as Korea is, I think South Africa is a tricky team. But it is very funny because it's exactly the reverse of that 2010 opener. It's Mexico hosting, South Africa playing them in Mexico.
Yeah. So that's it. And like you said, it's going to come down to who gets in from the European group here. It could be Denmark, could be Macedonia, Czech Republic, Ireland. all teams that are tricky teams. So it's not, and whoever comes out of that group, it's not going to be a cakewalk for Mexico, South Africa, or Korea.
If Denmark makes it through, for me, this automatically becomes one of the hardest groups. That's what I think. I know we're all excited for Mexico. They got an easy looking group, but it's because the word Denmark is not in there right now. If it is, this is a difficult group for Mexico. They're not the best team in the group. They're probably not the second best team in the group if Denmark makes it.
Okay. Oh, they're not. You don't think that consider them the best team right now? Who do you consider the best team?
Well, assuming Denmark makes it.
Let's say given the three teams that we see right now.
Denmark, South Korea, Mexico, South Africa is the way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Bold statement. I would put Mexico. I don't know about you, Rahi. Right now, I'd put Mexico out of these three teams a top as a favorite, but I don't know.
Yeah, especially being at home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to Group B here. Let's see what we got for Group B. Oof. Look at what happened here. This is another tricky one, guys, because Canada may have thought, okay, cool, things are looking okay right now, but look at who they might face in that playoff. That's the one that has Italy, which transforms this group big time if that happens.
Not only Italy, but Switzerland is a very dangerous team. We saw them handle the US. This is exactly the opponent you don't want to play if you're Canada. They have some Croatia vibes, and we saw what happened in the last World Cup. It's tricky, but Qatar is a great matchup for Canada. That's a game they'll be salivating over, and they hope. You got to hope that Italy doesn't come through if you're Canadian.
Yeah. This is a scary one. This is a very, very scary one for Canada. I'm glad that out of the three teams, Canada got this difficult group, because I think mentality-wise, they're probably the most capable. They have this intense underdog mentality, which I think is going to serve them extremely well in a difficult group. Whereas them in Mexico's group, or we'll talk about USA's group, I think they'll struggle because the mental, they're kind of expected to beat certain teams. Here, if Italy makes it, Italy, Switzerland, they have to get by those two teams in order to make it to the next phase. That is a monumental task.
Yeah. It's very interesting, this group, because I think the way it's positioned right now, right? It's you would say Switzerland is the top team. Canada's number 2. Qatar's definitely 3. We've talked about Qatar a lot in our videos, have not been performing well in the qualifiers. They got through, but they didn't perform well in the majority of the qualifiers. If Northern Ireland, Wales, even Bosnia goes through, right? Canada still probably retains that second place spot, like in terms of what at least how we feel about these teams. If Italy gets through, suddenly it starts looking very different, and Canada is in that third position in terms of how these teams are ranked, at least on the outset.
Yeah, remember, best third is available as well, but if Italy, not Italy, that's the big question mark here. That makes all the difference in this group.
Yeah.
How good is this Italy team, though? Because I feel there's a little bit of
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everyone's been saying that in our comments too, and yes, they got hammered by Norway, but it's a good Norway team. But remember what happens in these tournaments. In these tournaments, teams like Italy always perform.
Yeah. They haven't made this tournament in forever.
But countries like Italy revert to form, right? Germany, Italy, they revert to form of knowing big tournaments. Look, they're not a good Italian side, but they have some elements, right? Arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Look at what's happened in the tournaments they have made, right? In the last few years, one of them they won was the Euros. And the second one, they played this exact Switzerland team, got dismantled by the Switzerland team. But this is a very good Switzerland team. That's a very good Norway team that hammered them. When they play against teams that aren't that good, let's call them like super good teams, Italy is expected to win. So this is a tough match. And for Canada to open the World Cup against Italy, which is what they would do, that's pretty awful.
It's hard. Yeah. I still think you're leaning on history, but I will say this Italy team is not a pushover. Like you said, they tend to beat teams below them, and they tend to beat them handedly. If you look at their past 8 games, they killed Estonia 5-0, beat Moldova 2-0, beat Estonia 3-1, beat Moldova again 2-0, beat Israel 3-0. So they get it done.
Yeah.
but then they lose against teams like
but what a way to open a World Cup for Canada at home to beat Italy.
beautiful.
That would
tie it.
really get things going.
Let's not say, because it could be our Welsh friends, it could be our Northern Irish friends, could be our Bosnian friends. So we don't know about that, but that's at least how it looks like that. Okay, going on to Group C here. Wow, we have seen some of these combinations before, right? Are you getting vibes of '98 or what?
Shades of 1998. Morocco fans will remember Hadji with the spinning goal. Of course, that scoring draw 2-2 against Scotland. The team that was missing, that was Norway in this group, I believe, instead of Haiti. Then we would have got 1998, a repeat. If you're Haiti, this is tough. If you're Scotland, this is tough. This is a tricky group because we know, Roycito, how lethal this Morocco side is, man.
Yeah. All I got to say about this group is pobre Haiti. My goodness. What they've been dealt what I think may be the group of death. I know you guys are going to say a different group, but this for me on paper is a extremely complicated group. I understand Brazil, it's a typical talent overload, but in this weird transitional phase where they have not figured themselves out. So let me repeat that. This Brazil team is not the Brazil team we know. It's very, very different. But I think in this group, we have a top 5 team in the world, and that is Morocco.
Ooh.
I think Morocco is exceptional. I think Morocco has turned this team into a world power over the past 10 years, and I think they could beat anyone on a good day.
Are you calling Morocco to win the group right now?
I'm calling Morocco to win this group, 100%.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Bold,
unless Brazil figures their stuff out, which they haven't in years. They don't seem anywhere closer than they were 4 years ago.
Write it down.
So,
write it down. Okay.
They're going to have to figure it out fast, though, because their first game is Morocco. So it's opening up that way. And Scotland returns to the party and gets to face, some familiar foes. And I'm sure they're going to love that situation. But, and it puts a lot of pressure on Scotland for their first match and a lot of pressure for Haiti, too. Haiti and Scotland, it's very interesting. These two countries are returning to the World Cup after a long time. Haiti, a very long time. And their first match is going to be so crucial because of who they have to face next, right? Yep. They're going to need a result against each other. It's going to be a brutal first match. So
what do you guys think happens to Haiti here? Is this the kind of situation where they bow out with 0 goals and 17 against?
No.
Going to be a respectful outing?
I don't think so. I think Scotland's a team they can play with. They're not going to get played off the field. It'll be interesting. Morocco, look, I don't think they're entirely outmatched. This Haitian side, yes, Haiti is a country that has been through so much, and it's miraculous that they're in the World Cup. But remember how they play, Roy. They're a good side. This is not a pushover side.
Yeah,
I agree. We only get to see them against Caribbean nations, against Central American nations. We rarely, if ever, get to see them.
Yeah, I don't underestimate Haiti, man. I wouldn't do that. They're not just happy to be at the party side.
Yeah, we shall find out soon. So that's Group C. Okay, moving on to Group D. Who do we got? The US of A, right? And there you go. They got a group, Rahi. We saw your reaction at the beginning of this video. I think you're happy.
Hopefully that ages well. But my goodness, this is the group of life for the United States of America. You could not have asked. You could not have asked for a better draw, a bigger opportunity at home, hosting the World Cup. This is opportunity personified. What a group. You get Australia, who is the lowest ranked side in pot 2. You get Paraguay, who you've already beaten in a friendly. And yes, maybe you get Turkey last game. Tough, yeah, but this is a group, Roycito, that if you're an American fan, if you're Mauricio Pochettino, if you're a player, you got to be saying, we got to get out of this group and we got to do it with style.
I agree on the last part. We have to get out of this group. I disagree on the rest. I am not celebrating looking at this group. I don't care about FIFA rankings. I don't care that this team is the lowest ranked FIFA team in this pot and this one is one of the low. I don't give a crap about that. I care about the profile of team, the profile of our team, what we're good against and what we're not. I do not want to put all my expectations of this team based on the past 2 friendly games. It doesn't matter that we beat Paraguay in a friendly. It doesn't freaking matter. What matters is Paraguay is notorious for being the brick wall in CONMEBOL. Who does the U.S. always struggle against? They struggle against teams who do low block, who are defensively sound, who are defensively compact. We have arguably the second most defensively compact team in the North and South American region. That's Paraguay. First, I would put Ecuador. Yep. So we have them in our group. We struggle against that kind of team. Who else do we have? We have Australia, which has the same type of profile under their new coach. This is a team that's extremely compact, doesn't attack well, but they're the cockroaches of the group. They never die. They'll drag you till the 89th minute at a 0-0 scoreline, and you are desperately trying to get that winner in the last second. That's Australia. That's what they're going to force us to do. I don't care that we played them in a friendly. Friendlies mean nothing. Friendlies are for experimenting, for testing, as the U.S. did, as Australia did, as Paraguay did in those games. So this, for me, is a complicated group. It's a defensively sound group, and it's a very dangerous group for the U.S. to be in because it looks easy. It looks, oh, wow, no big brand names. But Turkey, we struggle against always. And then we struggle against defensively compact teams, which we have 2 of them.
Yeah,
So,
you know what? Interesting. So I agree with certain points you both made, in the sense that I think that I agree with Roy that, and if it is Turkey, it'll be 3 teams we played friendlies against. So we've played all these teams, and I agree with us struggling against defensively compact teams. My thing is why I think this was actually a good draw for the U.S. is based on who they could have gotten instead. You could have gotten a Croatia. You could have gotten a Norway. You avoided a lot of those teams. So based on the draw, I think this is a very good draw. Now, no discredit to Paraguay and no discredit to Australia. And I'm sure the Australian fans and Paraguayan fans, let us know in the comments if you think differently. And Turkey is, if it is Turkey, it's a tough team. And so is Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. But it could have gotten a lot worse.
could have been worse. Sure. I agree with that. But I am not celebrating.
Absolutely could have been worse, man. You could have got Japan. You could have got Morocco. You could have got Ghana in this. I mean, there's so many ways it could have been worse. I understand that if the U.S. sucks, they will suck and they will not do well in this group. But come on, man. Compared to the other teams they could have gotten, this is what you could have hoped for, man. This is cake.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna get into this much more in other videos. Like I said, in this video, we're gonna go through each of the groups. But overall, I think there's some pretty pleased U.S. fans out there. Moving on to this group here, Group E. Now, guys, Curacao makes the World Cup for the first time. And in their first match, they enter the World Cup and get to play Germany, Rahi. What a fabulous way to welcome them into the World Cup.
Yeah, look, it's tricky. It's a very, very tough game. But considering the pot they were in, to me, it's okay. You know, you could have gotten Spain. You could have gotten Argentina. You couldn't gotten France. Germany's a team. It's going to be very difficult for Curacao. But whoever they played was going to be difficult. I'd take Germany, honestly, if I were them.
Yeah. And then what do you think about the other matchup, guys? Because these are 2 teams that are going to be very, very even. The Cote d'Ivoire team and Ecuador, both dangerous teams. I think those are the matches that Germany's got to be like, okay, we got to watch out here because these are 2 very good teams.
Yeah, Ecuador will know this group. It looks a bit like their group in the last World Cup, right? Sub-Senegal for Ivory Coast, right? And they didn't do well, right? So they'll know that they can't slip up against Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire will look at Ecuador and say, also opportunity. Roycito, maybe where Ecuador has learned from the last World Cup.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm interested to see if Ecuador can keep their hot streak that they had in qualifiers. That's the big question mark for me because we saw them in friendlies. They didn't look like the same Ecuador in friendlies. They didn't look as impossible to break through. They didn't have as much of that incredible counter-attacking ability, and their star striker is going to be 36 come the start of the World Cup. He's going to be up there in age. So I'm curious to see which Ecuador team we see, because as we know, all that matters is current form, and this is a team that has been riding on incredible form. The big question is, do they have enough to make it out of this group? I think yes. I think on paper, the obvious choices are Germany in first or second, Ecuador in first and second. Curacao, I think, is going to get blown out of this group because I still don't think smaller teams in the CONCACAF region can compete on a global scale. I think they could compete regionally now, which is a great first step because that wasn't the case 20 years ago. I don't think they could compete globally yet. I would love to be surprised. But I think this is a Ecuador maybe first. If they keep the form, Germany second, Ivory Coast third.
Agreed.
I think
Curacao is different from Haiti. Haiti's a more difficult opponent for teams.
I think if Dick Advocat can manufacture something, even if it's a great performance in the first match, let's say they lose, but it's a great performance, it just shows that, you know, his strength as a coach, because that's a tough match to come into. I think Germany is still the team to beat in this group. I think Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador will be fighting it out for second. We'll see. Ecuadorian fans prove me wrong, but that's the way that it looks like that. Okay, moving on now to group. We're at E. Next is Group F. Wow. Okay, we get to see some familiar friends in this group. Rahi, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting group. Japan will look at this group and see opportunity. The Netherlands will look at this group and see opportunity. It's not a group that has a distinct favorite. You know, I look at this and say, who's the favorite here, Roy? Is it Japan? Is it the Netherlands? On recent form, you have to say Japan is the team favorite to win this group.
For me, it's definitely the Netherlands. I mean, the Netherlands historically have done exceptionally well at World Cups. Look at the last World Cup. Look at the one where they knocked out Mexico in the no era penal debacle.
No era penal, yes.
But I think it's a very, very not as clear as that. But I think Netherlands has the edge over Japan. I still think Japan hasn't yet shown at a World Cup level who they are as a team. I think they've been showing in qualifiers, they've been showing in Asia, they've been showing in friendlies that, wait, this is a team that is a menace. This is a team that could be in the conversation of world powers in the top 10. But I don't think they're at the level to win a group over the Netherlands right now.
Here's what's going to get really interesting about this group, because the team that's missing here there's 3 teams that have performed pretty well in qualifying and one that's performed absolutely atrociously. So that would be Ukraine, Poland, Albania, the 3 teams that have performed well in qualifying, and Sweden, who is not. If Sweden were to make it through, though, that means that their performances need to be way improved from where they were previously. So if you add a Ukraine, Sweden, Albania, or Poland in this group, yes, the Netherlands played Poland twice, and we saw how they played against them. Those were very close matches. That's going to complicate this group, I think, big time, because there is a tough team that's coming to be added to this group.
I think Sa is half Swedish, or Swedish in a former life. He's literally picked them to win the group, then picked them again to make it the playoffs. And now he's saying that if they make the World Cup, they'll be dangerous. This Swedish team has not shown anything remotely similar to suggest that they are a dangerous side. I disagree. I think the playoff team that comes through, that is not so tricky here.
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine, maybe Ukraine. But I still think the Netherlands, Japan will be comfortable in that match.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I do think Tunisia, no one mentioned Tunisia here. They're really interesting in that they're kind of like the Caribbean nations in that most of their games are against easier competition. So they're not really battle tested as much as many of these other teams, but they did have that recent friendly, what was it, a few weeks ago against Brazil, and they tied Brazil, which is interesting because if you look at their other recent results, immediately thereafter, they lost against Syria. And then immediately thereafter, they tied Palestine. And before that, they tied Mauritania and Namibia. They beat barely. So it's an interesting team that they're all over the place tactically. They're all over the place with their results. I think it's another group where there's a team that's not even close to the quality of the others, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Moving on now to the next group. And my, oh my, if there was one team that won the draw today, it's a small country in the west of Europe named Belgium, because this could have gone so many different ways. And look who Belgium ended up with. No disrespect to Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand, which we'll talk about in a second. But if you're Belgian, Rahi, I'm sure you had a good day.
A great day for a Belgian side that is underrated, right? This is not the generation of before Eden Hazard, right? Kevin De Bruyne. This is really a different generation, and it's a generation that's talented and that's tricky. And be careful of this side. And look, all of a sudden they get a group that is the easiest group in the draw. For Belgium, it's absolutely Christmas come early, Roy.
Yeah, you got Belgium. I call these guys Belgium 2.0 because it's post the golden generation, but they're still pretty loaded in the attack. So,
very loaded. Doku, Salamakers. It's full of talented players who can dribble, who can take people on. It's a dangerous side.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see a Belgium, perhaps without De Bruyne, or absolutely not the De Bruyne we're all used to seeing. But yeah, that attack is lethal. And then we have a beautiful storyline, which is Salah's last World Cup.
Yep.
This guy is an absolute legend. For me, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest African player. He could be in that conversation. And to see him come to this with that high emotional charge from the fan base, from the team, I think they could do some damage. And it would be wonderful to see them make some noise in this World Cup, because you want a player like Salah to leave the game with a powerful legacy like this on the international stage. But yeah, looking at this, I think Belgium's going to have a really hard time with Egypt. I think Iran is tactically super disciplined. They're probably Asia's most tactically disciplined side. They're a feisty team, but I don't think they could compare to the talent that Belgium has. It's just too big of a gap. And New Zealand, massive underdogs. They tend to struggle quite a bit at World Cups. So
they actually tend to not struggle quite a bit at World Cups. Based on the last one, they were, where they went through, they didn't lose a match. But I will say this.
That's right.
I will say this. Given the teams here, though, and I agree with, I think Belgium's toughest game will be against Egypt. I think the Egypt-Iran game is going to be a very difficult match. I don't know, Rahi, between the other three teams, I think New Zealand has possibilities, but they're definitely a step down between the other two teams.
I don't think so. I think it'll be interesting. You look at Iran versus New Zealand. We know Iran a bit better because we've seen them play in Asia. New Zealand's always tricky because you never know what to make of a team that plays in Oceania against teams that aren't very good. But be careful, you're right. Maybe they can surprise. This is past Belgium, it's a very even group. So if you're Egypt, Iran, or New Zealand, you're thinking, we can win. We can get in that second spot. And I think they all have a shout at getting that second spot. Yes, you're right. Mo Salah there for Egypt, emotional. But it's a Mo Salah that for Liverpool looks like he's lost a step, Roy. Now, it's just 3 games in the World Cup. Maybe he brings it back. We shall see. But none of these teams beyond Belgium is particularly scary or sets themselves apart from the other.
Okay, let's move on to the next group here, which of course we got España. So I talked about a debutante, Curacao, getting Germany in the first match. Cape Verde, who have become a big fan of your team. Man, Cape Verde, did you get a tough first match?
Yeah, that is about the worst match you could open up with. A Spanish team that is on fire after winning the Euros, just full of talent. It's such a hard opener for Cape Verde. And there was a weird stat they mentioned that Spain was in this exact lettered group when they last won the World Cup. So maybe it's good luck for Spain.
Okay. Yes. Interesting. Yeah, I think for me, this is probably the weakest group. And I say that because like Brazil, this Uruguay team is not that Uruguay team we're used to. They're not the guerreros. They're not those fighters. They don't have that grit. They've lost it. I don't know if they'll regain it in time. I don't know if you all saw the game against USA, but that kind of exacerbated and highlighted all of their deficiencies that have snuck up throughout qualifiers. So I think this is a group that Spain will win handedly. And Saudi Arabia, we've all seen Saudi Arabia play. We saw the way they struggled to qualify for this World Cup when in reality, on paper, they probably shouldn't have struggled nearly as much as they did.
Yeah.
And Cape Verde is, I think this is a team, of course, everyone will say, let's go and win it now. But this is a team that has reached glory beyond glories by being here. That is such an incredible achievement for a nation like Cape Verde, such a small nation. So the pride for being here is probably going to have to be enough for them. because I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. I think Spain lucked out with this particular group. Like we mentioned, Saudi Arabia, not the most convincing qualification campaign. Obviously, losing to, as a lot of our fans on our channel, Indonesia, along the way, losing some other important matches. Uruguay's not where they are, and Cabo Verde, we hope big things for Cabo Verde, but such is the way that I think things are going to go in this particular group. All right. Moving on to this group. Now, here we go, because France is there, Senegal is there. Of course, as you see, the Bolivia, Suriname, Iraq is there. But then we're wondering who is going to get the juggernaut that is Norway, and they ended up being France.
This is a difficult group. There's an argument that this is the group of death. It's tricky. Norway, this is such a tough Norwegian side. This is like a pot one type of team. And then you look at who else is here. France is arguably the most talented team in the world, right?
Yeah.
The most on talent, absolutely. And then it's interesting. It's a rematch of that opener, of course, that famous 2002 opener where Senegal beating France in that famous goal, Papa Bouba Diop. A really, really interesting group. And there's going to be some tough games here, Roy.
Yeah, this I think is the group of death. I suspect you guys may agree with that. And it's because of that fourth pot. The fourth pot got a pot one team. They got a team that, for me, the way they've been playing over the past year, this team enters the conversation of one of the best, perhaps 12 teams.
Third pot. You mean the Norwegian team?
Norway, sorry. Yes. So this is an exceptional Norway team. They finally met the expectations people have had of them over the past years because they have one of the best strikers in the world. But this is a fascinating group in that Senegal is also a tremendous African team, historically and currently. So it's difficult. What they did luck out on is the playoff.
Yeah.
I think they got the easiest playoff.
I would agree. And of course, I've come to be a big fan, as people know on this channel, of the Norwegian team. We'll do separate video on them. But I think it was a little unfortunate, I think, because this is a tough matchup. The France is a tough matchup for Norway. But and Senegal is a tough matchup too. We've kind of seen, I'd say, out of all the teams in Africa, very consistent, one of the most consistent teams that was during qualification was Senegal. And even when they came against adversity against DR Congo, they came back and won that match. So those three teams are going to battle against each other. But Roy, I agree with you. I think they lucked out. And we have a lot of Surinamese fans on this channel, and a lot of Iraqi fans on this channel. Guys, you're going to end up being in a very tough group if you get there, but still get it done. Make it here.
One of the best defenses in the African region as well. Senegal's defense is stout. They have some incredible defenders on that team. But they're consistent. They're consistently good. It's really a fascinating group. I'm very intrigued to see how Norway does.
Yeah. A lot more to come. On this group as we go on with further videos. But now we've reached the Campeones, Roycito, a proud Argentine over there. Rahi, what do you got? What do you got for us?
My goodness. I think this is a very, very easy group if you're Argentina, man. Normally you have this thing where the winner struggles in the group stage the next time around. But boy, they got an easy draw. Algeria is a good side and they're a tricky side, and be careful. Austria high presses. They might give you some problems, but nothing about this group should scare Argentina. Well, look, Jordan has been nice, and they have had an incredible Asian Cup run, and they deserve to be called by their actual name, Mr. Gretzky. Jordan is the name of the country. How embarrassing that you called them something else. But
it's not Jordan. I thought it was Jordan.
Jordan's like part of Amsterdam, man. It's like, anyways, whatever. My point is, this is an easy group if you're Argentinian. Boludo, this is a great group, my friend.
Boludo. Tu abuela. So this group is, Argentina couldn't have prayed for an easier group. I worry about it because Argentina is capable of beating anyone at this World Cup. They could beat any team at this World Cup. Of course, it'll be intense matches against France, against Spain, as it all would be. I would have liked to see one slightly more difficult team here. I would have liked to see a Norway here. Just because you have 3 games in a row against lesser competition, significantly lesser competition, it changes your mentality. It changes the way you play. I'm not saying Argentina is going to go out here and just beat every single one of these teams. Let's look back at the last World Cup, see what happened against Saudi Arabia. That was a shock. Thankfully for me, they rebounded from that and ended up winning the World Cup. But this, on paper, is the easiest group at the World Cup, led by what I would say is the best team at the World Cup.
All right. And this is why we're going to do a separate video on each of the groups later. I have a very interesting take on this group. When I first saw this group, I shared your guys' sentiment, and then I thought about these matches more, and I have a different take on this group than you guys. I think these are going to be 3 very difficult matches for Argentina, and I'll tell you why. Because what these 3 teams are very good at is the press, like you're talking about. And what they're going to do, what Algeria is going to do, what Austria is going to do, and what Jordan is going to do is they're going to absorb the pressure. They're going to absorb the pressure, and they have dangerous counter-attacking players, all 3 of these teams. Jordan has those 2 strikers up front. You know, one of my favorite guys, Al-Naimat, up front. Algeria is going to have Mahrez on the wing coming at you. And Austria is known for their counter press and their high press. Argentina is going to come into this match. They're going to think they're going to cruise through all these matches. And I guarantee you that is not going to happen. So this might be a hot take, but that's what I'm telling you right now.
Guaranteed, he says.
All right.
It's going to be tough. I'm telling you guys a lot more than a lot of the fans out there think, but you know, we'll figure that out at a later time. We'll know.
Death.
What?
Let's get to the group of death, man.
All right. Well, we're not at the group of death yet because we got this group right here, which is, of course, Portugal.
This is not your group of death. Group of life.
Yeah.
This is the group of life. If you're Portugal, you're excited. Somehow you also got the rules loophole where Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't have to serve a ban. Yes, he can serve his ban via friendlies. We can talk about another day, a ridiculous situation. He's going to play in the World Cup. He's going to be for the first game. Dude, this group, Roy, is an easy group for Portugal with the manager who's doing well. He's got this team playing well, Roberto Martinez. I think Portugal will look at this group and be very happy about the draw.
Yeah, I think this group is interesting in that the Portugal-Colombia match will be fascinating. You have a top 4, top 5 team in Europe versus a top 4, top 5 team in South America. So it's a battle between regions. It extends that conversation of, is CONMEBOL at the level of UEFA? My answer is no, holistically no, but this is the exact kind of matchup you want to see to have that conversation. Uzbekistan is a team that I love. I love watching them play. They're feisty. They're technical. They don't have a lot of height on the team, but they're just so fun to watch. My worry is that style of play worked extremely well regionally for them, but that style of play will likely not work against vastly superior rosters like Portugal's and Colombia. So
yeah,
this is an interesting group.
Nice team. It is a nice team. And let's talk about Colombia for a second, right?
Yeah.
It's a team that I think with James playing, when he plays so well for Colombia, the sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit, but they're very inconsistent.
I mean, Luis Diaz is a problem for any team that they play against, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, could Colombia cause problems for Portugal? I will say this, and I think we've all agreed New Caledonia, no disrespect, is not going to be making the World Cup. So when you add a Jamaica or a DR Congo into this group, does it make it harder? Slightly, maybe, but I don't know. Not really.
No, I don't think it's still a group of life if you're Portugal. Colombia could struggle with the DR Congo for sure, potentially with the Jamaica. We shall see, but it's definitely opportunity for all these teams.
Okay, now let's get to the final group. We have reached the end, and this one, Roy mentioned earlier that we might agree with him on that other one, Group I being the group of death, but actually, I don't believe that to be the case. I think this was the group of death according to me. Rahi, what do you got?
This is me saying adios, Panama. Adios. Adios. It was nice knowing you. Good luck and good night. This is about as difficult a group as you could ask for. My goodness. Croatia, superpower. Ghana, dangerous. And then England. I know a lot of my European fans are going to hate me saying this, but they are a legitimate favorite to win the World Cup. As talented an England side as we've ever seen with the manager, the right manager. This is a very bad moment to play England. This is a very, very bad group if you're Panama, Roy.
Yeah. It's a nightmare. And Croatia got over. They were a little shaky towards the end of last year. I remember in the second half of last year, they were struggling. What did they lose? Was it Nations League that they lost to? Was it Scotland?
Nations League. You're talking about the France one, that they were playing in the playoff.
It was in the group stage of the Nations League,
right?
They lost to France in the playoffs, but they just off beating France. But I think what you were gonna say is that they've righted any ship that was going down like that. It's changed.
We got to check on that. I remember a Scotland-Croatia game where they lost. I think it was like 1-0 in the group stage of the last Nations League. But they have seemingly righted the ship. In that same Nations League, there was a Portugal game, etc. But I think this Croatia team is back to their best. I think this Croatia team is capable of making the World Cup semifinals. Again, I think this Croatia team is in the group of death along with Group I. But for me, England is the big conversation. I bet if we were to ask 1 million people across the world who could win this World Cup, England would be in the top 2. Because they are a team that's due. That's the way I see them. They continue to make it to these tournaments. They make it to the final stages. They make it to the final, and then they just fall short. This one feels a little different. They finally have a new coach. And I could see England winning this World Cup. It feels like time. It feels like it makes sense for a team like England, who has the best team in the world, best league in the world, to finally make a mark at a World Cup. But this is an interesting one.
I think, speaking specific to the draw, I think this is a bad draw for all of these teams. And this is why I think this is the group of death. And I want to say even furthermore, England to start your World Cup off against Croatia, that's not good. Really that is not good at all. I mean, to start your World Cup and then after that you get Ghana next. Yes, they play Panama, so it's not going to matter in the end. But these are 2 tough matches. And the other thing I want to say, guys, if you win this group, you have a first match, and we're not going to get into this too much, but later this leads down to the pathway going through Mexico City and going through Mexico potentially in Mexico City. That's hard.
Yeah. No, if you look at the potential pathway for England post this, it gets really hard. So we can get into that when we talk about the draw in more detail, but this is a group of death by far.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, all right, that is that. Wrapping up all of these groups as we have gone through them, guys. And now, of course, we shall see overall. Just a quick final thought in terms of the losers of the draw. Of course, what I list out here: England, Croatia, Norway, France, because they all got tough groups. And I know Roycito may not agree full-heartedly with this, but USA, Belgium, and Spain are the winners.
I would add Argentina to that list, in my opinion. I don't agree with their losers, but I agree with the winners. Yes.
Okay. All right. For everyone out there, let us know your thoughts about how your team did in the draw, what you guys think. Again, this is the start of many, many more videos from us here at the ISB crew between now and the World Cup. So keep watching the beautiful game. Subscribe to the channel and see you all very soon.
Very soon.